The Eminence in Shadow Season 2, Episode 11, aka Episode 31 overall, Determination. So this is the season's penultimate episode. After this, there's only one more episode left, and then we are done with Season 2. So we start off this episode with Zeta and some Shadow Garden members, and they're looking for this device. And they're fighting off a bunch of Cult of Diablos members that are working with Perv. And they're unable to find this device, but we just get some cool Zeta moments, especially this moment where she lops off one of the dude's heads. And she basically says that she's gonna do whatever she can to help Lord Shadow. And speaking of Lord Shadow, we cut to Sid drinking some tea. Margaret shows up. Margaret is the maid from the previous episode. And Margaret's basically apologizing for losing Sid in the last issue. She basically kind of talks about how she wants to get Sid away from Epsilon because she believes Epsilon is jealous of Sid's talents and is holding him back. And then that's when Epsilon shows up and the two of them start butting heads, and Sid's just stuck in the middle of all this. He's just trying to calmly sip tea, just staring blankly ahead as these two women are bickering at each other. And then we just get this cool shot where all of a sudden Sid just kind of is gone. We see the two girls arguing, and all of a sudden the next time when we see them, Sid has been replaced with a stick that has a bag for a head. And yeah, Sid has basically used the substitution no jutsu to get the hell out of there. So the two girls are still arguing, not knowing that Sid's gone. And then we cut to Sid, who's doing a piano recital for a bunch of nobles. And because he substituted himself and left his clothes on the substitution, Sid's naked, except for a pair of boxers and a tie. So he's just playing the piano in front of a bunch of nobles with just boxers and a tie. And no one says anything about this. I don't know, I just thought this was hilarious. Maybe they think it's some kind of new outsider art or something, Sid's naked because he's trying to convey some certain message through his music and through his looks. I don't know, but no one seems to bat an eye at the fact that there's this half-naked dude playing the piano, and when he's done, they just kind of clap their hands. And then we have Sid talking with Epsilon, and they're talking about the Black Rose. And Sid believes that the Black Rose is an actual black rose, like a rose that's black, not knowing that Epsilon is talking about the big event that wiped out an entire army and could destroy the entire kingdom and stuff. So Sid's I want to see this Black Rose. And Epsilon's don't you think that's dangerous? But if you say so, Lord Shadow, I trust in you. Let's go find the Black Rose. And so Sid's walking around trying to find this rose that's literally black. And as that happens, he sees some butlers talking to each other. And the butlers are talking about the fact that the Queen and Perv are having sex. And Sid continues walking, and he actually spots the Queen and Perv having sex and realizes that the Queen is not a hostage, that she's actually in on the whole thing, and that the one thing that's stopping Princess Rose from being a tyrant is fake, is false. She doesn't need to marry Perv to save her mom because her mom's in on this. So we cut to Rose, and Rose is up in her tower, and Sid shows up as Shadow and basically tells her, follow me, there's the truth I need to show you. And so she follows after him, and she sees her mom and Perv having sex. And as they're having sex, they're talking about the fact that she, the Queen, poisoned her husband, that it was her that was drugging him, and that they should have killed Rose first because Rose is putting a hamper on things. And basically, they admit that they're going to kill Rose after the wedding. And so Rose, who's hearing and seeing all this, starts throwing up. She just starts barfing all over the place. And Sid's all right, now's your time to shine. You know the truth. Go and slay your enemies and become the tyrant that I know you can be. And then he turns and he just sees Rose passed out in a pool of her own vomit. And he's just kind of oh, maybe I went too far with this. So he takes her back to her tower, where she wakes up and she hears Moonlight Sonata, and she goes outside and she sees Sid on the piano. And I'm just kind of laughing because I'm Sid basically stole Epsilon's piano that was in the recital hall and dragged it all the way up this tower just so he can have this cool moment. And it just reminds me of season 1 when he did that same thing, where he basically stole Epsilon's piano so that he can play it somewhere else and have a cool moment. This dude just he's so gung-ho to be this Eminence in Shadow. But yeah, he starts playing on the piano, and he's kind of talking about how he had a dream and about his philosophy in life, and that's that he basically puts things into two categories. things that matter and things that don't matter. And the things that don't matter, he casts out. And he only focuses on the things that matter. And the reason that he does this is because he feels like if I ever want to achieve my dream, like I have a goal, and if I ever want to achieve that goal, I have to focus my time on the things that matter, the things that will get me to that goal. And everything else is just holding me back. And Rose misinterprets this as Sid saying that she's what matters and that he's in love with her. And she basically kind of gets motivated to do what needs to be done in a sense. And Sid disappears and he leaves behind the ring of the Black Rose. And Rose picks it up and believes that this is Sid proclaiming his love to Rose and wanting to marry her. And we just have like a cool shot where she like holds it up and has the moonlight within the ring. And the whole reason of like the moonlight stuff is because Sid believes that the moonlight is when people are at their best. He believes that when it's daylight, when everything is bright and shiny and you can see everything, there are too many distractions. There are too many things you can focus on. But when you're in the moonlight, only certain things are shown to you, and those are the things that truly matter. And I was like, okay, that's actually kind of a cool speech. But we immediately cut to Sid looking through his pants, trying to figure out where the ring is, and believing that someone stole it. So he didn't mean to leave it behind for Rose to pick it up. It was just an accident. It fell out of his pocket. And then he goes in the hot tub where we have a close-up shot of Epsilon's boobs. And we get just this whole funny moment where Sid's like staring at her boobs. And he's like, wow, Epsilon has gotten the slime to work to the point where it almost looks real. And he basically like, congratulates her on that. And she's like, I don't know what you mean. This is all natural. Like it just, one day I woke up and it was like this. And Sid's just like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever you say. But yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny that Epsilon's like working on this slime to the point where she makes it look like even when she's naked, she still has a slime on, and the slime even like takes on the color of her skin to make her boobs look real. But we cut to Perv Asshat, who's basically gloating at the fact that he's about to achieve his goal soon. And we had this funny moment where he says that all he needs is a ring, and he opens up the ring case and finds it empty. And we just have this visual gag of him closing the ring case, opening it up again, and saying that he's going to be the 12th round of the Knights and stuff. And the ring is gone. And he just keeps closing and opening, expecting the ring to appear, but it doesn't. And then that's when we get a call from Mordred, who is part of the Code of Diablos, part of the Knights of Round, and basically tells Perv Asshat, like, everything is done on our end. Now it's just up to you. Marry Princess Rose, and let's get this thing started. And that's when we cut to Princess Rose, and she walks down the aisle. She approaches the altar where Perv Asshat's still fumbling around trying to find the ring. And we have a moment where we see Sid playing on the piano. And Sid's the one who's basically, he's the wedding musician for this. So as I'm just thinking, like, as Perv Asshat walked down the aisle, Sid probably played him a song. As Rose is walking down the aisle, Sid's playing her a song. And I bring this up because there's going to be a really hilarious gag that I'm not sure if much people picked up on it, but we'll get to that in a moment. But Perv Asshat, basically, like, they go through the ceremony. Priest asks if, like, you take Rose's hand in marriage. He says yes. He turns to Rose. He's like, do you take Perv Asshat? And basically, he doesn't even get to finish his sentence because Rose cuts him out and says, I do not. And Perv starts yelling, like, what are you doing? Say yes. How dare you? Like, I have a hostage, and you better say yes. Otherwise, I'm going to harm her. And the funny thing is that he's yelling this out loud, but no one, like, reacts to this whatsoever. So I'm like, are these people in on it? Like, what's going on? But yeah, she basically refuses. She holds up a ring, and it's the ring of the Black Rose, and basically says that this was given to me by my true love. This is a reminder of what I need to do, and my love will only be for my true love. She's talking about Sid, obviously. And she puts the ring on, and it activates like all these like status screens, and they just pop up not only all around the wedding ceremony area, but also all around the kingdom. And the king is there, and it's a recording that the king took right before he died, where he's basically saying that someone is drugging me. I can feel myself like losing control of my thoughts. I probably don't have much time left before I'm fully taken over. And by the time you see this, I'm probably dead. I want you to know that while I don't know who is drugging me, I know who's behind this plot. And that person is the Duke Perv. I leave my kingdom to my daughter, and I want all of you to put your trust behind her. And so basically, the king spoils all of Perv's plans. Like, everyone is now aware that he's a traitor, and he's been drugging the king and all this stuff. And so everybody turns against him. And before Perv can really do anything about that, Princess Rose has this cool moment. Like, she uses her hand to like slice her wedding dress, like a slit in the dress, so that it like reveals her sword, and she pulls it out and basically says, "My name is Princess Rose of the Oriana Kingdom. I pronounce you guilty." But before she can do anything, Perv's head just gets lopped off, and it rolls down the altar steps before it stops in front of the queen's feet. And it takes her a while to figure out that her lover just got decapitated. But when she does, she's about to scream when her head gets decapitated. And Princess Rose is kind of like freaking out because she's not the one that did this. Yeah, she pulled out the sword, but she didn't kill Perv and she didn't attack her mom. So what the hell's going on? And that's when Mordred shows up. And he reveals that, he no longer needs Perv, that he didn't need the wedding to actually happen. He just needed certain requirements to happen for the ring to activate. And Rose putting the ring on her finger fit those requirements. So he pulls out the device, the key that Zeta was looking for earlier, and he summons Ragnarok. And Ragnarok is this giant dragon demon creature. And the reason I brought up Sid playing the piano earlier is because this made me laugh. Like, it took me a while to figure it out, but once I did, I couldn't stop laughing. As the dragon demon, as Ragnarok is being summoned, we get like boss music playing. And it took me a while to realize that the music that's playing is piano music. And if you remember, Sid's the one on the piano, which means that Sid's playing the boss music for his opponent. And we even have a moment where Mordred has this facial expression of, is this guy really doing this? Like, his face is just kind of like, first he's smirking, and then he has like this weird, like kind of confused face when the music starts. And to him, he's just thinking, okay, this wedding musician is just giving me my own theme song. What the hell is going on here? But then he continues his spiel and tells Ragnarok to start destroying the kingdom. But I just thought that was hilarious, where Sid's actually playing the boss music for the boss that he's about to fight. Like, that's how gung-ho he is to make sure that everything looks cool, that he even builds up his opponent by playing him his own theme song. I was like, all right, that's only something Sid could do. But yeah, the kingdom, like, part of it gets destroyed by Ragnarok, and then Ragnarok is about to unleash a full blast that's going to wipe out the entire kingdom when one of its arms get lopped off. And then that's when the piano like really ramps up and everyone turns, and rather than Sid being behind the piano, it's now Lord Shadow. And he just gives this like really cool monologue where he says, "A rose that blooms in the sky, a bat enveloped in flames, a band of light that raises the earth. Each of these things is really quite rare, but they are unsightly." And then he just like stares menacingly at Mordred, and that's how the episode ends. So yeah, the next episode's probably going to have Sid fighting Mordred and then taking on Ragnarok. But I love this episode. I thought it was hilarious, especially the moments where Sid uses the substitution no jutsu and starts playing the recital in front of a bunch of nobles and just his boxers and the tie. And the moment where he plays boss music for Mordred and Ragnarok. Like, just the fact that Sid's playing boss music for his opponents before he fights them is hilarious to me. Only Sid could pull that off. So yeah, I like this episode. Thought it was good. Nice, good setup for the finale. And I'm kind of sad to see it end. Like, we're only going to get one more episode and then the season's done. But I think this series has been doing well overall that we're going to get a season 3. Fingers crossed. Hopefully I didn't jinx that. But I'm looking forward to that if it ever happens. But yeah, this has been a good ride so far. Just one more episode to go. But there you go. The Eminence in Shadow, Season 2, Episode 11, a.k.a. Episode 31 overall, Determination. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope to see you next time. Take care. Later.